Acknowledgements. This book doesn't encourage you to be poor. It will show you why you already are. Maybe not in your bank account, but in your habits, thoughts, and daily decisions. V1. Chapter 1. Being comfortable. People complain about being poor, but deep down, they made peace with it. Poverty stresses them today, but by tomorrow, they're laughing like nothing's wrong. That's not struggle, that's comfort in disguise. Struggle becomes part of daily life, to the point where it no longer sparks action, just acceptance. That is understandable because we all feel like we are no longer have control in this world. All things you planned never go to the way you planned them. So is that a life's nature? Or is life just reminding us we were never in control? All of us, we've said this before when we were young, 5 to 12 years old, that when I get older, I will buy myself big house, car, get married with beautiful children, and travel overseas, blah, blah, blah. Then life happened, disappointment, every time reality hit harder than the dream. Then you lowered your dreams instead of raising your standards. You watched your parents struggle and started believing that maybe struggle was normal. You didn't see success up close, so you convinced yourself it was only for those people. And slowly, your dreams weren't goals anymore. They became bedtime stories you told yourself to fall asleep at night, only to forget them by morning. This happens because you were young, and you didn't see any problem sand you were comfortable with it simply because your family was able to put food on table for you, which was very good and important. You should be grateful for that. Your parents gave you enough to survive, but not enough to thrive. You saw others with things you wanted on TV, in magazines, from friends, yet those things always seemed out of reach. When you were younger, your parents would say they couldn't afford it, and money doesn't grow on trees. That's when the limitations began to sink in, quietly planting roots in your mind. Those words stuck with you, and over time, they took hold. Slowly, you started to believe that you couldn't have what others had, and that's where the block began to form. You see, you may think your brain is in your side, not knowing it's so fragile. Every time you see things, it blocks you from seeing opportunities instead. And you didn't know. You must train yourself, your brain. Just like when you raise your child, these things start to happen when you go to school. You set limitations for yourself by saying, when I finish school, I will do this and that, and it's like, it will magical happen. What about those years you are spending 12 to 13 in school and not doing anything but waking up, going to school, come back and you eat, go to sleep, doing that again and again? But I don't blame you or anyone. I was also the victim. I just realized you pranked yourself for 13 years by going to school. And here you still stuck with me trying to escape this poverty. But we were young and dumb. There's nothing we can do with that. The reason I'm saying this, I'm just trying to show you things that we always miss without even realize we are. Because those 13 years' time is worth for your life? You could have something bigger now, but instead, you even forget all the things you were taught in high school. Let's be honest, most of what you learned back then didn't prepare you for real life. They made you memorize formulas but never taught you how to make money. You gave the system 13 years, but what did you get in return? You were told education was the key, but no one told you the lock had changed. You walked out of school with a certificate, but no direction. You were trained to follow, not to lead. And now you're lost when it's time to take charge. They said school was your future, but they forgot to show you how to build one. This happens to all of us because we were all so comfortable with it, no one ever thought to change that during his or her time at school. This also led you to start being comfort in waiting for the right time. You keep telling yourself you'll start when the time is right, when you have more money, more confidence, more support. But that perfect time never comes, and deep down, you know it. You've wasted months, maybe even years, convincing yourself that you're being patient, when really, you're just scared. You're comfortable in the waiting zone because it feels safe, no risk, no failure, no pressure, but also no progress. Every day you wait is a day you lose. Life doesn't pause for your fear, and success doesn't come to people who sit around hoping that Jesus will come and secure their life. You keep telling yourself you'll start when the time is right, when the money comes, when the stress goes away, when things finally feel right. But that time, it's a lie you made up to feel better about doing nothing. You've wasted years waiting for perfect conditions that don't exist. You weren't being patient, you were being passive, comfortable in your excuses, scared of the cost of trying. You stayed in the waiting room of your own life, watching time pass, like it's not eating away your future. Every delay has a price, and you're paying it with regret. Let's be honest, that was just your excuse to stay scared. You weren't planning. You were hiding. Hiding behind not ready, behind not now, behind one day. The truth is, you didn't need more time, you needed more courage. But comfort killed it. You got good at pretending to prepare when all you really did was avoid. And while you were waiting for some magical sign, time kept moving, life kept happening, and your potential sat there collecting dust. You didn't miss your shot, you let it expire. Now you're not stuck because of poverty, you're stuck because waiting became your lifestyle. You grew up learning to keep quiet, not because you had nothing to say, but because speaking up never changed anything. So you learned to swallow your thoughts. You had ideas, dreams, things that could have made you stand out, but standing out felt dangerous. Poor people don't speak too loud. They don't challenge the rules. They don't try to be different, they try to survive. And survival teaches silence. You convinced yourself that maybe it's better to stay in the background, to not draw attention. But comfort in silence turns into regret. All those things you wanted to start, you didn't. Not because you couldn't, but because you never gave yourself permission to speak loud enough to be heard. And you set limitations in your brain. But honestly, again, man without money has no voice. But it's your job to change that. We all had thoughts that could have changed our lives. But we said nothing. We stayed quiet in our rooms, keep thinking about our dreams that look impossible to achieve. Silence became our shield. We thought keeping our heads down would protect us, but all it did was bury us deeper. We weren't born invisible. We made ourselves invisible. Every time we swallowed our words and thought and watched others take the life we wanted on TV or everywhere, then we start to say they had lucky in their life. We all watched our parents pray so hard. Or maybe it was you begging God to save your life, wondering why you're struggling like this. You've seen people homeless on the streets, women and children abused, crime everywhere. You ask yourself, where is God in all of this? You prayed for strength, for a breakthrough, for something to change, but instead things got worse. Poverty wrapped around you like a chain, and you stopped fighting. You started to accept that maybe this is just your place. Maybe you'll never level up in your life. But do you know what is there as on behind this? It is because most of us misunderstood how really things work from the beginning. And when reality didn't match the promises we thought we were given, we started feeling scammed by life, confused, bitter, stuck. But the truth is, if you understood what the Bible says, you'd know God never promised to come down and fix your life for you. He will not come to you while you kneel there and wait for him to change your situation. Belief isn't about escaping poverty with a miracle. It's about preparing your soul. It's about doing good while you're still alive, so that when this life ends, you can enter the next one with peace. Your current struggle on earth? That's on you, bro. It's your job to change it. You can pray, yes, but not to escape effort. Pray for strength. Pray for discipline. Pray not to give up while you do the work. Because comfort in faith alone won't move your life, only faith with action will. My point is that people are now praying to be rich to change their situation, which was never made for that. And same as school people thinking it will make them rich, not knowing it prepares them to be slavery for someone who runs company like you can't, and live on paycheck. But that is not wrong because it gives something to eat, which you are comfortable with. But what are about me and you? Yes, us. We are both dreaming to be wealth like other people and change the world like Steve Jobs, Elon, Bill Gates, Jeff. You name your role model. You sit and scroll, watching others win. You see the cars, the lifestyle, the freedom, and that moment, you feel inspired. You save the post, maybe share it, maybe even say one day. But that's where it ends. You don't move, you don't act, you just admire.
You got comfortable comparing instead of competing. You look at people who gave everything while you keep giving excuses. You clap for their success, but deep down, you wonder, why it's not me? How did they do it? Damn, maybe they are lucky. The truth is you can't hate the results of a race you never ran. You're not behind because they had a head start. You're behind because you never started. You thought watching others succeed would motivate you, but it didn't. It paralyzed you. And now, you're more familiar with their progress than your own. You let social media convince you that watching is the same as working. Because you follow successful people, you think you are somehow on the same path, but you're not. You've mastered on how to look busy without ever building anything real. You know all the quotes, all the reels, all the success tips, but none of them live in your actions. You've convinced yourself that feeling motivated is progress. It's not. It's a trick. And every day you spend watching others rise is another day you choose to stay where you are. Poverty doesn't always look like hunger. Sometimes it looks like comfort, a plate of food, a roof that doesn't leak, and a phone with working Wi-Fi. That's why many never realize they're poor. They compare their situation to someone worse and feel lucky. But survival isn't the goal. You can eat every day and still starve your potential. You can be warm, clean, and clothed and still be stuck in a life going nowhere. Comfort tricks people into thinking they're okay, when really, they've just adjusted to mediocrity. The struggle isn't loud anymore. It's quiet, hidden behind laughter and full bellies. That's the most dangerous kind, the kind that keeps you still. Because this book isn't just about poverty in the bank, it's about poverty in the mind. When someone feels okay, they lose the urgency to change. If they were starving, they'd fight harder. But comfort whispers, you're not doing that bad. You lie in bed while your dreams stay stuck in your head. Even the Bible warns you, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands, and poverty will come upon you like a thief in the night. That wasn't poetry, it was a warning. Sleep is not the enemy, but too much of it is a silent killer of ambition. If your bed is your favorite place, don't be surprised when success never shows up. It doesn't visit the lazy. Same as sitting there watching television or 3 hours on your phone, watching influencers or your friends on social media pretending they already made it. Every time you wait for the right time, someone else is getting ahead using the wrong time. They're starting with less, failing forward, and learning fast while you're still planning. You don't need more time. You need more urgency. Life doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. The longer you wait, the heavier your excuses become. Start now. Start badly. Just start. Every moment spent waiting for perfection is a moment that could have been used to take action, no matter how small. The perfect time rarely comes. It's easy to convince ourselves that the conditions aren't right yet, but in doing so, we postpone our growth. Those who take action, even when things are imperfect, learn valuable lessons through trial and error. They make progress while we stay stuck in a loop of preparation. Don't let fear or doubt hold you back. Every mistake is a stepping stone. You don't have to be great to begin, you just need to begin to become great. The path to success isn't paved with flawless plans, it's shaped by consistent effort, mistakes, and improvements. So, push through the hesitation, embrace the struggle, and start now. Your future self will thank you for it. Look at who you spend time with. Are they building? Are they learning? Or are they just surviving and calling it normal? Your life will only rise as high as your standards, and your standards are shaped by the people you let in. And that lie is enough to keep them from chasing better. You tell yourself it's not your fault. You were born into struggle. The system is rigged. Life is hard. And maybe all of that is true, but the moment you believe you have no control, you hand over the keys to your future. You start living like a passenger, waiting for someone else to drive. You stop trying because trying feels pointless. But here's the truth. Staying poor might not be your fault, but staying powerless is. You can't change everything at once, but you can always change something. Your time, your habits, what you feed your mind, who you let speak into your life. The real trap isn't just being broke, it's believing you have no say in it. You complain about how expensive life is. You say the system is broken. You feel like you deserve more. But when the noise dies down, what do you do with your time? You scroll. You binge shows. You sleep. You wait for motivation like it's going to knock. But it doesn't. And deep down, you know the truth. If you put the same energy into building as you do into complaining, your life would already be changing. Anger without action is just noise. And you've made enough noise. The question is, when will you finally move? You say you want a better life, more money, more freedom, more peace. But the moment something fun shows up, you drop your plans like they never mattered. You spend like you already made it. You party like there's no rent due. You choose quick laughs over quiet progress. And each time you do, you delay the life you say you're chasing. Success isn't built on big moves, it's built on small sacrifices that no one claps for. Every time you pick now over later, you're making a trade. The worst part is most people don't realize the cost until it's too late. Don't be one of them, or maybe you already one of them. Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day, not while they're building. They know comfort is earned, not assumed. But you sleep like life owes you something. If your circle laughs at growth, mocks discipline, or says you've changed when you improve, the poor often talk about money like a solution that will fix all their problems, if only they had enough, if only they could catch a break. I need money for this, they'll say. I need money for that. It becomes a same cycle of excuse because money is the solution, but never actually figuring out how to make it happen. They complain about the lack of resources, but rarely acknowledge the lack of action or the way they waste what little they have. The mindset is rooted in scarcity. Every problem becomes a financial one. They focus on the need instead of the create. If only I had more money, I'd be able to. Yet the money never comes because the focus is always on the gap, not the solution. They are consumed by the idea that money is the answer to everything, yet their actions revolve around waiting for it to appear instead of making it happen. It's a dangerous mentality. It keeps them stuck in a perpetual cycle of dependence, thinking that external circumstances are the cause of their misery. But the truth is, money rarely changes anything unless there's a shift in the way they think about it. If you're always waiting for a lucky break, a windfall, or some kind of miracle, you'll keep chasing the illusion. And while you're waiting for that big break, others are busy creating their opportunities, building something with what little they have, and getting ahead. They're too busy talking about what they need to do to notice what they could be doing with what they already have. The poor talk about needing money, but rarely do they talk about how to earn it or use it wisely. Money is not a savior, it's a tool. And unless they change their approach, no amount of money will ever be enough. And I'm afraid to say you are one of them as long as you never achieved what you wanted. Comfort is dangerous because it makes you complacent. It makes you believe that progress can wait. It encourages you to ignore the gnawing feeling that you could be doing more. But while you're comfortable, the world keeps moving forward. Others are out there, challenging themselves, growing, and improving. And every day you stay comfortable, you fall further behind. It gets harder to break free from that comfort zone because the longer you stay, the more it becomes your new reality. Nothing great ever comes from a place of comfort. Success, growth, and fulfillment are built on discomfort. It's in the struggles, the failures, and the challenges that real progress happens. You must force yourself to move when you don't want to push yourself when everything inside you wants to stay still. Nobody is coming to pull you out of that comfort zone. It's your job to take that first step, even if it's scary, even if it's uncertain. The life you want won't be handed to you. You must claim it and move toward it with urgency. The longer you stay where you are, the harder it will be to make that change. But every small step you take out of your comfort zone is a victory. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to start moving. The job of getting out of your own way is yours. The world won't wait for you to decide. You need to decide for yourself that you won't let comfort hold you back anymore. If you're stuck in the comfort zone, it's time to shake your cage. Freedom begins by acknowledging that comfort is what's keeping you in chains, not protecting you. It's so easy to believe you're in the clear, but that safety is just illusion, an invisible prison that holds you in chains. You get to set yourself free. All it takes is one decision to move, and everything can change from there. Start small. Simply do one thing that makes you move out of your comfort zone. It could be as simple as setting a new goal, attempting something new each day, or even just pausing to consider what you've been procrastinating about. The key is movement. Regardless of how small, the act of doing something will start to build momentum. The second thing to do is make it a priority. Comfort gives you the indulgence of time, but time is something that you can never get back. Don't wait for the perfect moment to make changes. The perfect moment is now. You don't have to wait for motivation to strike or for all the pieces to surround yourself with people who won't let you stay comfortable. Surround yourself with people who will push you, who will ask more of you, and who will believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself. Your environment is powerful, and when you're with people who are working the same way, you won't have any choice but to elevate with them. Above all, believe in the power of discomfort. Believe that growth is born of the struggle and of the challenge, the very things you've been resisting. When you sense resistance, you're moving in the right direction. The life you want exists outside of your comfort zone. Each small step forward will lead you to bigger steps. Once you move, you'll begin to let go of the you that was always meant to be. Your future self will be grateful. The reason you're not doing anything, even though I tell you, you need to move with one little step, it is because you have no idea what to do. So relax, I will tell you. First thing you need to do is not use your brain, man. You know what's your problem. It's easy to be who you never wanted to be. Chapter 1, and now let go to Chapter 2, the power of changing the environment.